Today, we're going to talk about the three V's and the supposed power vacuum that has been left open that they intend to fill. My name is Impcut, welcome back to Cartoon Universe, and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, as well as check out the video we made where we react to your comments, such as the ones in response to that time I killed all my employees. Not liking or subscribing just to see what happens. Subscribe or the background characters die. Background characters slowly disappear throughout the video. The threat from his latest video is coming true. We need to unite to protect these employees. Now, Vox, Valentino, and Velvet were introduced in Season 1 and were set in early live streams to be important antagonists, but so far they haven't actually had that much attention. These Vees, as they are called, are three overlords who, like the other overlords at Camilla's meeting, seem to own a large share of souls in hell, making for collective millions with the others. Generally, the overlords seem to be united against the Exorcists, as even though Alistair and Vox hate each other, Camilla made it clear that they all lose power every time an extermination happens, with countless souls being lost in the carnage, hence why they were both invited to this meeting even though Vox did not show up, with Velvet just showing up in their place. However, the V's suddenly found themselves on sort of opposite sides with the other overlords, not being pro-exorcism, but finding themselves invested in the success of this second extermination because of its focus on the hotel itself. While they ended up just watching from the sidelines, they ended the season stating that there is a power vacuum that they can fill, which I didn't really think about until Sarcastic Chorus pointed out to me that no power vacuum was really left that they could fill. So it doesn't really make sense, considering that the end of the extermination, or even just one being delayed, doesn't seem to actually leave open some sort of space for the three to take over. This was probably just a musical line used to help convey that they see an interesting opportunity to make some moves, with hell being in all sorts of chaos because of the extermination and its cancellation, the possibility of a bigger retaliation from the Exorcist now that hell has fought back, Alistair sinking into the walls, and Vox now being able to fill the market with technology that can fight against the angels even. So let's break down those possibilities. Now, one thing that Vox had promised earlier in the season was that he would be working on Vox-based technology that can protect people from the Exorcist now that they are coming twice a year. I doubt this was thrown in just to be thrown away, and I believe it will pan out in Season 2, with Vox also giving cryptic promises that everyone can trust him in Season 1, making it look like Season 2 and onward will involve betraying that trust. Vox had the idea that Carmilla might know how to kill the Exorcist, and asked his assistant to set up a meeting with her in order to invest in some sort of technology. But in addition to Velvet talking smack and causing a rift between the V's and the old overlords, Carmilla made it clear that she doesn't want to share the secret to killing an angel with the others, not wanting that to become common knowledge that causes more chaos in hell. At the end of Season 1, however, the cat was out of the bag and everyone realized the very obvious, that the angels are weak against angelic steel just like the sinners, as they both are just souls at the end of the day. Vox now has that information, and worse, access to a very easy and open market. While angelic weapons only exist for hell because some are left behind after the annual extermination each year, there seems to be such a huge surplus of it that Serpentius alone could make a large-scale purchase for his own personal use. It seems that when countless lives are discussed as being ended in the pilot due to Serpentius and Cherry Bomb's turf war, that he may have been using angelic weaponry. Vox, likewise, can probably make a no-hassle purchase of large-scale amounts of angelic weaponry at this point, which he can then turn into high-end technologies for elites and upper classes to use to shield themselves from exorcists. However, with the cryptic "trust us" that Vox propagandizes, I can't help but think we absolutely cannot trust him, and that this technology will be devastating to hell in the end. This would not be because of it simply being faulty and not working, but because Vox will exploit trust for even more twisted reasons to control hell. Vox is the overlord of television, and he doesn't just use his screens to put out entertainment. Like in real life, television in hell is largely about propaganda and controlling the masses. Vox even appears as a star on his own talk show where he doesn't have to say anything entertaining, but rather he can just propagandize against Alistair, insisting he is a nobody while claiming with text at the bottom of his screen that the last time Alistair tried to come at him, that Vox wrecked him. Vox's technology is also shown to hypnotize people, paralleling how in real life people tend to enter the alpha state while watching TV, where the critical thinking part of your brain is turned off. In this state, it is less about logic and more about exposure that shapes the way you think. While you may consciously think you are arguing against the points being made in a TV program that you disagree with, being in this state means you are not using the critical thinking part of your brain, and therefore are accepting the narrative as it plays out, even if you disagree with the ideas. Your brain begins to experience the illusory truth effect, where all it takes is a repetition of the same basic ideas in order for your brain to accept it as a sort of truth, even if you disagree with what's going on. It doesn't teach you that something is correct, but rather that something is normal, no matter how angry you are about it. Thus, by making his company's slogan, "Trust Us," Vox is brainwashing all of the people into having to assume that he is trustworthy, just by the nature of the way human brains work, which is essentially the same when we become a sinner. The slogan of "Trust Us" was likely inspired by the real-life happenings several years back, where a mass of different competing news stations all gave the same report about how you should not trust the internet as a source of news.
We are extremely proud of the quality, balanced journalism that CBS 4 News produces.
But we are concerned about troubling and irresponsible, one-sided news stories plaguing our country. And this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
So, how will Vox abuse this control? With an even worse extermination event possibly on the horizon, I think Vox would start to flood the market with technology that can legitimately protect sinners from exorcists. Not armed robots or anything like that, but home security systems that, whether through angelic bullets or melting that down into some sort of angelic laser beam, there is some form of protection. As absurd as melting the angelic metal into some sort of lasers that can provide shields to the entries of home may seem, I just imagine there will be some sort of angelic-based technology that Vox will create in order to try and convince everyone they are safe. And if they have a soul deal with Vox, they likely will be, because he wants to keep those souls in his power. But I also imagine a lot of people will have no soul deal with Vox, and thus become prime candidates for Vox to betray. Vox, I imagine, has a lot of enemies, but a lot of them don't know why they are his enemies. A large part of Vox's process is making sure that he has people who can enhance his business who are beneath him so that he can maintain power. He can be very welcoming, but it has to be with him ending up on top, such as the way he controls Valentino and Velvet, both giving him new stuff to use for his industry around his screens, but people he can ultimately control. There are so many demons out there who I could see Vox being very aware of without them knowing. He is known to spy on people through his TV screens, as seen in the Alistair prequel comic, where he is spying on Alistair. While Alistair is aware of Vox and had an antagonistic relationship with him already, Vox must be spying on countless people this way, looking for openings to destroy them properly. These people would see Vox as no different from Carmilla, just another overlord who makes their money with angelic weaponry, and thus would have no reason not to trust his technology over Carmilla's, who might not be advertising her weapons as for use against angels even after giving her support to Vaggie and the hotel with it. Vox can corner this market, win the trust of the people, and then conveniently have just a few of these backfire specifically for people who were threats to Vox. This would give a new edge of mystery to the next extermination, the question of whether or not these will work, and the revelation at the end that some of them didn't. While Vox might have a lot of questions to answer after this, he does control the news media through screen-based technology, and thus would be able to suppress the stories pretty well and put out whatever spin and lies he needs about simple malfunctions that happened, but everything being ready for the Season 3 extermination to go perfectly for everyone else again. Even more people would buy his technology, doing away with the old of Carmilla's weaponry and embracing the new of the screens, which is the central conflict of the show. Alistair represents the old with radio, and Carmilla even sings about Vox and the Vees being too new and too cocky. To have the third season finale, which from what I understand is supposed to be the series finale, and with Vox doing some sort of mass betrayal to the public, would fit this well. It would be 3 seasons of letting go of the old to embrace the new, only for Vox to have betrayed everyone's trust after years of programming them specifically to trust him. For one reason or another, he could make a deal with the angels to simply make the technology malfunction, leaving specifically his people as open targets for the angels to kill. For this, who knows what could be offered? Lilith was even offered a place in heaven. However, I think his motives are ultimately more simple. He wants to control hell, and to do that, he needs the majority of souls. Anyone who buys his technology is probably going to be safe, because he doesn't want their souls to be lost and for him to lose power. But by making the technology malfunction for everyone who does not have a soul deal with him, he opens the possibility of the other overlords losing power, and with a mass enough die-off of people who would normally be protected now being left vulnerable because of these malfunctions, he could wipe out most of the power of the other overlords in just one night. But what do you guys think? Let me know your theories in the comments down below, and if you haven't checked it out yet, go see our video where we respond to your comments. This tiny man walks up to you and demands you bow down and call him the Burger King. How do you respond? I'd rather have McDonald's or Wendy's. Brilliant. Oh no, I've been hearted. Yeah, Burger King used to be good, but it's kinda now. Do people actually enjoy Burger King? I will inquire about his courtship with the Dairy Queen and how the construction of his new White Castle is going. He kind of looks like a plushie. I'm gonna grab him, take him home, and put him on my shelf.